All right, it's that time. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jessie Collins, and I'm one of our Pyramid US consultants. But I am coming to you guys live today on your PEX Canada website. And we are going to do a little activity kind of today, just talking about communication and learning opportunities during creating one variation of a sensory bottle, but we'll also share some other ideas with you and some other links and stuff that you guys could take advantage of and be able to vary and repeat this activity as you kind of need to. So, happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to our June Facebook Live. And I hope everyone's having a good start to the summer and that we can walk away from today thinking about a fun activity that we could create some of those communication and learning opportunities in. So, the first thing I wanted to let you guys know is that this video is going to go along with some resources that are available. We have both a lesson or activity plan and a set of pictures that go with this particular activity that can be used with your learners regardless of if they're a PEX user or not. These are both currently were pasted on the PEX Canada Facebook page. So if you take a look, you can see that these were uploaded, and so they'll be available on the PEX Canada Facebook page that you guys are viewing this live on right now. And then also these will be available if you go to pexcanada.com and you go to the helpful info tab of the website and look for the support at home tab. These materials will also be there available for upload. So the first resource is a set of pictures that's going to go with this activity that we're going to talk about for today. And just so you guys can kind of see what's on here, the pictures that are available are bottle, water, food coloring, glitter, tape, glue, beads, toys, dish soap, oil, the verb pour and shake, magnet, screws, paper clip, and then this bottom one is actually just a kind of like a blank commenting bubble, and this is for you guys to be able to make your own comment. So if you have a kid that likes a particular phrase or comment like fantastic or beautiful or woohoo, you could just write that in there and kind of use that customizable based on the learner and a comment that you might want to teach them. So those are the pictures that are available, and this is by no means an all-encompassing set of pictures for every sensory bottle that you guys might want to make, but these are just some examples for you guys to use. The other thing that's available is a little activity plan or lesson plan. It has a little description of the activity. It has some of the materials that you need. The nice thing about this little lesson plan is there are 2 links on here that you can, or actually, sorry, 3, a couple links that you can copy and paste. One that takes you to, and this is not something that myself or Pyramid created, but just some links of people that have put together a bunch of ideas for lots of different types of sensory bottles. And then there is a specific link to a magnetic one and also a lava lamp sensory bottle. So those links are in this lesson plan. And then down at the bottom here, and we're going to talk about these as we kind of go, this actually breaks down and writes down on paper for you so you don't have to like take a million notes right now. What are some potential requests? What are some comments if you're working on teaching your kids to be a speaker? If you're working on listener behavior, what are some potential directions you could give your kid during this lesson? What are some potential like tolerance, waiting, turn taking, critical communication skill types lessons that we could teach? And then where are there potentially some other learning opportunities that could be tied in or integrated to this lesson? Okay, so these are 2 nice resources that are going to go with this particular activity. And these are things that we could use when you guys go back from watching this little video. So I did go to our local craft store and I grabbed a couple of things. Today I'm going to make a Canada color themed sensory bottle. I know that you guys have a celebration kind of coming up, and so we decided to use those particular colors. And so the first thing I wanted to show you guys is that you can use a variety of bottles. If you guys have learners that are working on big or small, that is definitely a great very first thing that you could have your kids ask for. So ask for a bottle or even ask for a particular size. These are just bottles that I've recycled, and when you guys take a look for a bottle, if you happen to get some water from the local convenience store, you guys can kind of think about one thing that's really nice is to have a bottle that has a little bit larger mouthed lid opening like this, because obviously you can put a little bit larger things into that particular bottle. So you guys can see this one is just a little bit smaller, even though these are about the same size. This one it's going to have less options or less pouring room right here for us to make the bottle. So there's options there. And you guys can see these actually did have wraps on them similar to like this. And the nice kind of thing is that once you empty it or kind of rinse it out, you can literally just take a pair of scissors and just make sure you find kind of an area where you can kind of cut or break the cellophane wrapping. And then it's pretty easy to just, and actually some of your kids might actually like this, kind of fun. This particular type of wrapping kind of goes into this big spiral. And now I have a clear bottle that my kids can see into. So that's kind of nice. The next thing that we need, and you guys have two options here. I think you can put in a little bit of water or you can wait. I think it's best to kind of put the materials that we want in here, and then we can add the water so that we don't put the water in and then start putting the materials in and then totally overflow the bottle that you're going to use. So I'm going to start with just this smaller bottle right now, and a couple of the things that I kind of got examples of, and this is where you can really let your creation and your imagination run wild, is a lot of different activities or sorry, items that could go in here. And this is where we could have a million themes of different sensory bottles. So if you decided you wanted to do a under the ocean theme, or you want to do a zoo animal theme, or you wanted to do a favorite color, or things that start with the letter G, or whatever it might be, we have lots of flexibility about what could go in the bottle, and we can have a lot of repetition of this lesson with making a lot of different things, and even keep these lessons around for kids to be able to play with them and kind of look and comment on the different things that we put inside there. So I went to the local craft store and got some things that were red and white, since we're going to do this to celebrate and honor the colors of the Canadian flag. And so here's some pipe cleaners here. I got some beads that are different colors. I got a bunch of little sequiny type things that are, this is one of the things we'll talk about. These are different sizes and different shapes. So there are circle red and white sequins, there are square ones. And so that's kind of neat because there are some different sizes and shapes in here. And then I also got some little pom-pom balls that are different colors, and they have red ones in here. So we could lay these materials out. This is definitely something where you could work on choice making with your students, so having them decide what they want to put in first. If you have an earlier learner, you may want to even just hold up the particular objects and just see what they want, see what they reach for. If you have a learner that's working on communication, then in their device or vocally or with their picture, you could have them ask for the sequin or the glitter or the bead in whatever level of communication that they're engaging in. And so we definitely have an option for that. Also, you can use this for direction following. So if you didn't want to have the kid ask for the pipe cleaners, but instead you just want to practice a direction, and let's say you're working on color, I may give the learner this whole bag, or I may, if I want to make it a little bit easier, hold up a couple different colors pipe cleaners, and I could say to my learner, I want you to take the red one, or I want you to take the red and white one, and work on taking those two together. And if they were correct, they would take these two and they would leave this one behind. Also, if you guys have a learner that is working on counting or math, this is a great way to build in some functional math into this particular lesson. So, you could tell your student to take 5 red and white pipe cleaners, or they need to count out 20 beads. And instead of only doing this with things that are not related to things in the kid's day, this is a really functional way to have your kid practice quantity, practice counting out from a larger set within the context of just collecting the materials and things they want to put into their sensory bottle. So by no means something that you have to work on, but if you do have a learner that is working on some of those math concepts, this is a fun way to kind of work on that away from a math worksheet or textbook or flashcards. So just in the very simple thing of selecting what we're going to put inside the bottle, we have opportunities for requesting, we have opportunities for some choice making, we have opportunities for color or potentially shape identification, and also for quantity and math. And then we also have the opportunity for learners to ask for those things or even comment on it. It feels fuzzy, or to be able to follow directions, take the for that type of thing. And so that essentially what we're going to do is we're going to have our learner collect the items that they want, and then you can give the student the direction to put them in. So this is definitely going to be something where we're working on our fine motor skills. Again, that bigger mouth is going to give you more space than the smaller one. And so you can have your student just drop in whatever they want. There's no right or wrong answer. Some of your kids that like noise might really like this, where there's no water in there. They get that noise. They might even like to shake this a little bit and you have a little bit of sound, and that might be fun for some of your students as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put in a few of these red and white little beads that I have. I am going to take out my little pom-poms, and I'm going to count out, let's say I'm going to count out 5 red pom-poms, and so practice my counting and then have the student put those into the container. Okay, and you can even count as they drop them in, 3, 4, 5. Another learning opportunity that could occur during this particular materials collection is opening stuff up. So for this particular set of things, I left it unopened. And so this might be a great opportunity if you hand this over to your student and just say, go ahead, put the sequins in, for them to ask for help to get this particular bag open. And maybe even if they can't tear it, for you to help them open it or to get some scissors. So that might be potentially a request that we could ask for as well. And if you have things that are different sizes, you know, these little circles come in different sizes and different colors. This is something where, you know, we could ask for the big, let me hold that up so you guys can see, the big red circle or the small red circle or the big white circle, kind of hard to see, and have them ask for those things as well. Okay, so this is something you haven't put in. I'm gonna actually hold off on this so we can drop those in and watch them kind of float once we have some water in the bottle. And then the last thing that I'm gonna stick in are some of the pipe cleaners. If you guys have students that are working on cutting, you can practice doing that in different sizes. Theoretically, you could also, if your kid likes to play with pipe cleaners, so I might cut off a piece and I could do fun stuff like wrap this around my finger, and now I have a little spiral guy that I'm going to drop in there, and again have our learner put that into the bottle. So again, here we could work on long and short or big and small if I have different size spirals that I'm working on. If the kid wants a different shape, let's say they decide that they want it shaped in like a triangle, we could do something like that. So we could have fun bending and making our pipe cleaners into different shapes, and that could be an activity even within itself. So you could have your student work on cutting, or you could help them cut and let them bend or arrange and work on other adjectives and verbs, like straight versus curly or long and short, if you are working on those things with your student. Those are things that they could ask for. For example, if they don't want to make it, they could ask me to make the curly pipe cleaner. It's also something that you could hold up and you could ask them to take the straight pipe cleaner or take the curly pipe cleaner and work on that vocabulary receptively as well. Okay, so I'm going to throw a couple of those guys in there. And then the next thing that we need is water. Because I'm doing this on camera, I'm not going to walk over to my sink. So if you're close to the sink, you guys just have your kid walk over. Another thing you could work on is having your kid pour. So what I did is kind of pre-prepped a bunch of water into a bigger water bottle, and I brought this over. And so this is something that we could have the student practice. You could help them with this, but we're going to request our water, and we can pour that in to the water bottle. Okay, and depending on if you're going to put any other liquids in there, you can kind of decide. It's kind of fun to watch it. If you guys can see, some of these things are floating and will go in different shapes, and so I have that there. And then if you don't pour it all the way, another thing we can do is if we kind of look in here and we say, okay, we don't have enough stuff in there, I want to have more stuff floating around, then you've left yourself some space to be able to drop in some other things. So I'm going to put in some of these glittery things that I had and throw in a couple more beads. And then one of the things that the student can ask for, again, is help with the lid. And then we can kind of see what is our bottle starting to look like? Okay, so in this case, I just left this really clear and I haven't overloaded this a little bit, but you can really put in as much or as little as you want into the sensory bottle. Something else that's really fun is that we can also put in food coloring, and so we can make different colors. And so this is something, again, your kid could request, kind of work on those fine motor skills, opening the lid and squeezing the food coloring. And then you can just ask them to put in, however many drops that you want. Drop that food coloring in, put the lid on. We have the pictures on here for pour and shake. So those are also two different activities that you can put in. So have them put that in, and then they can shake that up a little bit. And now you guys can see we have a little bit of a red tinted water bottle with our things kind of floating around in there, which is kind of fun. Some other options that you guys have to make this stuff a little bit more interesting is that you can put something like vinegar or even dish soap into the bottle, and that is an option for, it will create kind of like, you can see the different materials, right? Because they're different densities, and so it'll be floating in there. So if you want to try something like that, you could put in some dish soap, and you guys can see, I'm not sure if you can see on the camera, but when we put that in there, it's kind of cool because then we get some bubbles, and it's probably a little bit hard to see on the camera, but we can put in some of that stuff. We can also put in oil, just generic cooking oil is kind of fun. So this one's gonna make this a little bit soapy in there, create some bubbles, which is kind of fun. You can put oil in, and that almost creates that lava lamp effect. And so really the sky's the limit with whatever you want to put inside the sensory bottle, okay? And then what I recommend is that you glue or packing tape, and really once your learner, we're done, we've put whatever we want to put in here, that we really secure this lid shut, so that when you're not looking, we don't have someone unscrewing it and pouring everything out all over the floor wherever you might be. So that will kind of be your final step for your sensory bottle, is putting on some tape or some glue, or even both, maybe a little bit of kind of super glue, and then putting on some packing tape around there, clear packing tape so the kids can still see in here, and then we can work on that. So this is kind of fun because this is a really simple activity. Again, we have lots of flexibility about different items and things that we can put inside the sensory bottle, and it's as simple as that. So just collect the recyclable bottle, put in whatever materials you want to put in there, and pour in some water, potentially soap, potentially oil, vinegar. There's all sorts of things we can mix and put in there. So lots of fun stuff that we could do. One of the other things I thought was kind of fun, if you guys are doing some science concepts, is to put in things inside the jar, inside here, that are magnetic. And then if you get a magnet, the kids can actually take the magnet and rub it on the bottle, and they can move the paper clip or the screw or whatever might be in there around. And that's kind of fun. So if you guys are doing something science specific, there's some really neat things we can do with that as well. And then once you made your bottle, okay, I want you guys to think about some of the other learning opportunities that we could have here. Okay, so the first thing is we could definitely have our learner comment on things that they're seeing inside the bottle. So maybe something as simple as, it looks beautiful. Maybe if they think it looks ugly, they can say that. Maybe they can say they think it looks like a firework, or it looks soapy if they see something. I like it, I don't like it, it's red. All the different comments that we want to make. You can teach your student whatever you want to, and we would just have them comment in whatever modality that they're in. And also we have a lot of flexibility with whatever might be a functional or reasonable comment for your learner based on their age and what type of bottle they made. Within the lesson, okay, we can definitely have requests like look. One of the things outside of just requesting for the specific materials, like the bottle, the tape, the food coloring, things like that within the context of the lesson, is things like asking questions. So maybe you kind of hide something away and your student says, where is the water? Or where is the food coloring? If you have kids that are starting to ask questions, starting to teach kids to kind of direct each other's behavior, or even type share. So maybe they pass this to a friend and then they say, you shake it or you turn it. And we can also start to work on some social skills and turn taking within the context of having some sensory bottles, especially if a lot of the kids make different types in your class. We can just, we could share and kind of look around and turn this into a group-based activity even after the sensory bottles are made. Okay, some directions I think that would be great for you guys to follow. I'm teaching a kid to respond to you saying their name, so I might say, Kristen, look, and I want them to stop and look, and I can show them something cool inside the bottle. Giving them directions to turn or to shake it, so go upside down. Directions like get the, and then insert whatever material you want them to get. Directions like put in and put on are definitely things you could take advantage of in this lesson. Asking them to pour the water in, asking them to put the lid on the bowl, and then also using the food coloring and materials like that. A lot of our kids also have some of these critical communication skills we talk about, so things like waiting, things like hearing no. Those are potentially things that you may take advantage of in this lesson as well. So, while kids are waiting, if you're doing this in a group, they may need to wait a turn to request for something. Maybe they really want to see this bottle, but Emily is playing with it, and so they need to wait to take their turn with this particular bottle. Maybe your kid really wants more of these pom-poms, right? And they really want some more red pom-poms, but there's no more red ones in the bag. And so I could kind of show them, hey, look, there's no more red pom-poms. I have my learner accept no, and either say, hey, you can have another color if you want, or we could pick a different material. Okay, so one of the things I often work on the lessons, or even sometimes set up practice for, is having my kids practice hearing no, and then moving on or making an alternate choice, because that's something our students need to practice. You could also expressively have your kids practice yes or no. Do you want a blue pom-pom? No. Do you want a red one? Yes. And we could have them practice saying yes or no as well. On a more global scale, some things to think about if you guys do have the time, or you're working, it's your own child that you're working with, is thinking about how can we practice setting up and cleaning up the materials that we use for this particular lesson. Can we even have our kids involved in the shopping process? So they're going to come out to the store with us and they're going to pick the bottle that they want. They might go to the craft store and pick some of the materials that they want, or even look around the house and see if they can find stuff that they would want to put inside their bottle. And if you have some kids that are working on conversational skills or social skills, we could again work in that joint play and even try to have some conversation with, prompt and teach some conversation among our kids about some of the different things that they see or like or don't like in the context of the different bottles that the kids made. So I hope that gives you a lot of ideas. I know there was a lot of information there, but this is really a very simple activity. It can be varied in a million different ways. And so essentially anything that we could fit inside the bottle, and I would say that's safe to use, is something that we could put in here. This is something that I definitely did with my kids for the process of it, but I also had a lot of students that really liked the product. And so it's something that was repeatable. It's pretty cheap. We could vary it up with color and theme, all different times throughout the year. And this can be a really fun activity for individuals of a variety of ages, both in process and product. So I hope that gives you guys some ideas of some things for you guys to think about. A couple of things I want to remind you guys about. Again, on the PEX Canada Facebook page where you guys are watching this, the activity plan and the pictures were posted. It will also be available on the PEX Canada website. There are some different websites available in the activity plan where you guys can get some ideas for a variety of different types of sensory bottles and things that you guys can use. Trying to find, and here's the chat box here. In the chat box, I'm going to put one of those little websites that you guys can take a look at. Again, this is not affiliated with Pyramid in any way, but just to get you guys a link for thinking about some different things that you could work on. Just so you guys know, these particular pictures, so some of the products that I would use in this particular lesson, these pictures are mostly from our Picks for PEX CD, and so that CD is available for a digital download. It comes with I'm not even sure, hundreds of pictures of different types that you can expand on this particular picture set that we just kind of gave you guys for free if you're doing a different themed set. I also often put these pictures onto one of our activity boards. And something that I kind of keep around, especially if I'm going to repeat this activity over and over. So the set of all these pictures that go with this particular lesson may not go in the student's PECS book if they are a PECS user. And I'm going to pop a link in the chat box here with what an activity board looks like. And essentially, this can be used with kids that aren't even PECS users. I might use pictures to help support new vocabulary. Even use it kind of as a choice board with them for what they're going to ask for vocally. Use those pictures to give them a direction. So if you guys are working with a kid that's not a PECS user, but you want to practice some picture directions, and you say, hey, get this, and you show them this single picture of food coloring, we'd be wanting them to go grab the food coloring, and we could practice that direction as well. So those are some things that I might use with this particular lesson. Okay. There is a couple highlights for joining today. So the first one is that you guys can win a large visual reinforcement card for sharing something that you learned or a type of sensory bottle that you guys would like to make with your learners. So if you are watching this, then let's say, I'm not sure, Emily, if you're still on, maybe what time, maybe by midnight, let's just say by midnight on, I don't know, tomorrow. So midnight, by June 9th, by midnight Eastern time, if you can email PECS Canada actually, I'm not sure. Emily or Kristen, if you guys are still watching, could you put the email address? Let me see where they can email for the giveaway. Okay, Canada@PECS.com. Sorry, now I see it. So Canada@PECS.com. You guys can email Canada@PECS.com and let them know what is one thing that you guys learned today or one type of sensory bottle that you might want to make with your students, and you'll be entered in a drawing for a free reinforcer card. Also, there is a sale on the reinforcement cards available on PECSCanada.com on the products page, and the code for that is working421. Okay, working421, and so that will give you a discount on the reinforcement cards. So let me put that code in the chat box for you guys, and that will get you a discount on the reinforcer cards. And then also, remember, we do a lot of different trainings at Pyramid. So if you're interested in, learning about some new content, definitely check out PECSCanada.com and take a look at the upcoming training opportunities. There is a PECS SUD training coming up on June 23rd. So if you have some learners that are going to be using a speech generating device, then that might be something worth checking out. We talk about how to teach on there. And also, in July, there's going to be a How to Say No and Live to Tell About It talk. So as I was kind of mentioning, if you told your kid there is no more red pom-poms and you're like, my kid's going to have a 2-hour tantrum, then we have a great 2-hour talk to really help you think about. You actually get some nice resources and forms that you can fill out to be thinking about, how do I practice teaching my kid to handle no? So those are some of the trainings that are upcoming this summer. Again, there is that discount code working421, all caps, on the large and small reinforcement cards that are on PECSCanada.com on the products page. And then again, we have that free giveaway. If you email Canada@PECS.com and you tell us what is one thing you learned from this video, or what is one type of sensory bottle you want to make out and try with your particular learners, and email by tomorrow, June 9th at midnight Eastern time, and we will pick a winner for that. So thank you guys so much for joining today. I hope this lesson gave you some ideas for a very simple sensory bottle. And sorry, yeah, I see also if you email the Canada@PECS.com, make sure you put in the subject line giveaway. And this will also be available and be recorded on the PECS Canada page. So enjoy having some fun with your students or with your own children this summer, creating some sensory bottles and also creating a lot of communication and learning opportunities. If anyone does this activity, we would love to have you post on the PEX Canada website, or if you're in the PEX user support group, share your product or talk about your experience or what you had your student practice learning. And I really enjoy you guys attending, and thank you guys so much. I hope you learned something today, and we will see you next time.